Hi, I'm James and welcome to my world, and today we're going to be finishing off the trem arm. So this is our original trem arm that's come off our guitar, and it's a little bit overbent here, probably from pushing it down so much, but this is what we're trying to match as closely as possible, is this trem arm. So these are some that I've made, and they are a very, very close match. The radius on the corner is very, very similar. The radius on that corner is very, very similar. Yeah, they do vary a little bit in length by 2 or 3 mil, but they're all perfect. They all lock in nice and smoothly with a nice, satisfying clunk as it locks in place. So I'm about just under halfway through this project. I've got a bunch of them made up here at the moment. So I've got a bunch of the trem arms ready to go for chroming. And I've still got probably an even larger amount to bend up still. So I thought I'd take you through the process. So we have our jig. Here we have the basic jig that I've built to produce the trem arms, and I'll give us a little show around this later. So basically what we've got is we've got the arm that travels along a radius here, and on the interior we've got because we're during the lockdown of 2020, we have got a socket that we put a radius on the edge of, and that is what moves the arm. So here we've got 2 posts onto which this little gate sits, and this is designed just to hold on to the trem arm in that position. And we need to fill this gap because otherwise the trem arm will bend in a position that we don't want it to bend in, so it doesn't arc as you bend it. So the first stage with this jig is to put the first bend on. So the first bend, let's get some light on the subject there. The first bend is we bring the trem arm in up to the black marker here. So it just needs to come right up so it just about touches that black marker, and then I hold it in the corner, and now I give it a good old bend round and keeping it pressed in this corner where my thumb is, and allow it to feed through. That's the key. And to keep your jig tight. I thought about tightening that jig up again in the vise, but then I was like, I'd be all right. And then I end up in a situation with the jig at a nice angle like this. You can see how much force you have to put onto this to bend it. Right, okie dokie. And it isn't the easiest thing in the world. Not for the faint-hearted. Now this is the tricky bit, because you've got to just overbend it and allow it to bend back. Overbend it and allow it to bend back so you get that 90-degree angle on the arm. That's the tough bit. Believe me, figuring out how far to bend it so it bends back square, that's what you've got to learn. Because it's easy to do this, but it's easy to make a mistake. Then these 2 parts go on, and the trem arm will go through again, lock into position with that. Now I keep my pressure in the middle here and just give it another bend until it goes past there we go. Yeah, that looks about right. We can always check it and drop it back in if it's not right. So I'm always going to check against the original and make sure it's as close to the original as possible. And that's pretty alright. The bend's a little later on this one, and we've got a little bit more height to it, a little bit more length to the bar, but they're all handmade. So let's try it again and find one that is absolutely perfect to start with, because a few of them are a little long. The first stage is to put it into the jig So I slide it up and just right up to this black line up here. Past it and back to it and just right up to it. That's perfect there. And then with my jig, I've got to keep this arm lifted and bring it right round, right over here, and right to there. There we go. So now we have a nice 90 degree on the trem arm. That's perfect. Then I drop in the two little blocks over here. Pop this arm in again, locking it in position there, and then there we go. And that is pretty perfect. Same length, same bends, absolutely perfect on the bends. Absolutely perfect on the bends. You know what I mean? That is spot on.